I used to believe that those towering hotels, owned by well-known brands, were safer than your run-of-the-mill, locally operated one-star motels. Statistically, that might hold some truth. But I was confronted with the stark reality that danger knows no boundaries. It all unraveled during a trip for a family reunion. In the middle of nowhere, while most family members stayed at the host's spacious property, I craved my own space to unwind from in-law interactions. The closest intersection had minimal amenities, just a diner, a gas station, and a Dollar General except for an oversized hotel chain. The sole accommodation for miles. Surprisingly, it was heavily booked, including by other family members seeking solitude. Upon checking into my room on the first morning, I noticed the bustling lobby, except for one unsettling figure, frail-looking man seated alone, eyes fixed and intense. His disheveled appearance and unnerving stare unsettled me, despite trying to ignore him. His persistent gaze lingered until I left. Throughout the day's chaos at the reunion, I forgot about him. Returning to the hotel late that night, I was stopped in my tracks by an unsettling sight: the same man, still seated, now facing the entrance, as if surveilling everyone. As I hastened to the elevator, he lurched toward me, emanating a foul odor, struggling to escape his conversation attempts. I managed to enter the elevator, but his presence was suffocating due to his unpleasant odor and unwelcome advances. Alarmed, I veered to the stairwell, dodging to a lower floor and eventually slipping into my room. Relieved that he hadn't followed me directly, wanting to chill a beverage, I ventured into the hallway and, to my shock, found him behind me. His words and proximity sent chills down my spine, his intent disturbingly clear. I reacted instinctively, tossing a bucket of ice at him and fleeing into my room. Securing every lock, I dreaded he'd linger outside, so I alerted the front desk. Thankfully, the night staff intervened, coercing him back to his room. Yet the encounter haunted my thoughts. Sleep was elusive, prompting me to leave the hotel early and endure the family reunion, preferring any company over the haunting specter of that old man stalking me. Solo travel through the Scottish Highlands was a long-cherished dream from childhood family trips. This time, as an adult, I wanted to explore on my own terms. It marked the start of a European backpacking journey. But fate had other plans, confining me to the British Isles after an unnerving incident. On that first evening, I reached deep into the Highlands. Avoiding night driving, I stumbled upon a rustic inn, distinct from American hotels. Exuding a homely charm, the pub, offering homemade food and local brews, became my dinner spot. Engaging with elderly locals, I gained travel tips and favorite dishes, courtesy of the innkeeper. Conversations flowed until the late-setting summer sun disturbed my sleep pattern. The innkeeper suggested drinks to help, offering an unfamiliar Scottish liquor. Obliging, I imbibed multiple shots. Unaware of the consequences, after sundown, attempting to retire, I realized I was abnormally intoxicated. Words failed me, and a cook joined the innkeeper. Exhibiting an ominous presence, they herded me, disoriented, toward a staircase leading to the rooms and a cellar. Realizing I couldn't ascend, a forceful shove sent me tumbling down the stairs, rendering me unconscious for hours. Dawn brought a horrific discovery: I was alone in my car, disoriented and wounded. My kidney had been surreptitiously harvested, leaving me robbed, injured, and lost. Clouded memories of that night, the drugged food, and sedative-laced water shrouded any chance of identifying my captors. Robbed of belongings and dumped miles away from my intended route, I lacked means of tracing back. Driven by desperation, I flagged a passerby, sought help, and reported to the police, but my quest for justice remained futile. Stranded and robbed of 2 months of travel, I painfully made my way back home, a victim of an underground organ harvesting ring that seemingly evaded capture. As I embarked on my journey abroad, immediately after wrapping up a grueling 5-day work event that left me with a mere 10 hours of slumber spread across those intense days. Arriving at the motel, its weary appearance became apparent. The faded carpets and clammy blankets seemed negligible. In my state of utter exhaustion, I surrendered to sleep almost instantly, succumbing to the weariness around 8 p.m. local time. Around 11 p.m., a shrill ring pierced through the quietude. The motel phone clamoring about a noise complaint. I protested, stating the implausibility of such an accusation as I had been peacefully asleep. The persistent inquiry probed if someone else might be sharing the room, to which I vehemently denied. It was just me, unequivocally ruling out any other source of disturbance. Despite my assurances, they persisted, demanding clarification of my solitary state and affirming the absence of any disruptive sounds. Drifting back into sleep, I dismissed the strange exchange. Upon awakening, reflections on the oddity of the conversation surfaced. No audible commotion resonated in the vicinity, leaving me perplexed as to the motel staff's insistence on confirming my solitude repeatedly. Later, it dawned on me. The alleged call might never have occurred. It seemed more probable that it was a ploy. Perhaps someone probing the various rooms, endeavoring to ascertain occupants and their numbers. In hindsight, I found solace in my steadfast habit of securing the additional latch chain lock, a small gesture that suddenly held immense significance in ensuring my safety and privacy during such unsettling encounters. The first time I visited Las Vegas, I was simply passing through. I had embarked on a cross-country road trip, and since Vegas wasn't too far from where I started, I thought spending the first night there would be a good way to see what it was all about. However, being only 20 years old limited my options, especially in terms of hotel accommodations, as all the nicer casino hotels required guests to be at least 21. Accompanied by my girlfriend at the time, we explored the town during the day, finding ways to entertain ourselves. Strolling along the strip in the evening, we soaked in the sights without the need to show ID. It was fun, a welcome distraction from the impromptu cross-country journey we were compelled to undertake due to unforeseen circumstances. But when it came time to turn in for the night, the harsh reality of Vegas emerged. The only place I could find near the strip that allowed me to book a room was a dodgy motel, complete with a sex shop and a strip club across the street. The mere walk from my car to the room was unsettling. Our first floor room had signs of past break-ins, and the person above us, smoking and staring while we unloaded our bags, added to the discomfort. Once inside, we secured the room as best we could and tried to relax, watching TV to unwind from the day's events. However, the guest above us was incessantly loud, creating a ruckus with constant movement and noisy activities. Eventually, a dispute erupted, escalating into a shouting match, followed by what seemed like a heated argument with someone on the breezeway. At one point, a woman's screams echoed through the walls, alarming us while considering calling the police. We hesitated as the situation seemed to fluctuate between heated arguments and moments of seeming resolution. But as things intensified, with objects being thrown and unsettling sounds of a physical altercation, we decided to call the motel's front office and even contemplated 911. Before we could make the call, a terrifying crash reverberated from above, followed by sounds of bodies hitting the floor. It was distressing how vividly we could hear the struggle unfold. We immediately dialed 911, reporting the ongoing altercation, and the police seemed aware of the situation when we provided the address. Soon, a swarm of cop cars arrived, prompting us to hide in the bathroom fearing a potential shootout. The guest upstairs attempted to flee at the sight of the police, leading to a chaotic scene of shouting and sirens. Moments later, there was an eerie silence, eventually broken by ambulance sirens. Fortunately, no gunshots were fired. When the police came to gather statements, they informed us that the man upstairs had ordered a prostitute but lacked the means to pay. attempting to assault her instead. I regret not calling sooner, yet the police assured us that he was apprehended and wouldn't escape. Justice, in an attempt to evade arrest. He fell down a flight of stairs and suffered fatal injuries. Reflecting on his actions, it's difficult not to conclude that his demise was somewhat deserved, even before the events of that dreadful night unfolded.